Hi everyone, it's a beautiful Saturday afternoon. I should be jumping out of aeroplanes, but I'm not. Still working on the bike. I've been doing a lot of chasing around for bits and pieces, and I've had some success, and with other bits and pieces I've had no success. So I'll try and bring you up to speed. I did shoot something during the week on Wednesday. It was a public holiday here in Australia, Anzac Day. So I started filming this thing. The battery went flat. I couldn't remember where I finished off, and basically the video became a mess. So anyway, what I started to do was I started to, as you know, I'm in the paint stripping process, as I've said in the last two vids. I paint stripped the engine. I haven't degreased it yet. I paint stripped the engine to try and get all the red off it. It's been painted like 4 different colours over the years, even painted with concrete paint at one stage. So I've been stripping this back. I will degrease it today. I've bought the paint, the heat resistant paint for it. You might be able to see here, like all this down here was all covered in red. There was black in there. There's everything. There's still a little bit of red in the corner there I haven't got out, but you know, pretty much the majority of it has all been cleaned up now. It's very difficult to get into this section of the head, but the engine's going to be repainted black anyway, so as long as this is clean, that'll be okay. I think I explained that I needed a new fuel tap because the little arm's broken off it, and the same with the choke tap, and the button's missing off it. So I found a really good package deal where you get the complete carby, which will have the fuel tap and the choke complete on it. So you get that, you get a pod air filter, you get an NGK spark plug, and you get a CDI unit. Now this CDI unit, I don't know a lot about them. It's supposed to be just plug in and go. They make them in a 5-pin or a 6-pin. I've got a 4-pin. I've got a 4-pin plug on mine, but with the 5th wire running separate. So I'll just have to do a little bit of stuffing around with the wiring on that. Slip a wire out of the back of the plug on the CDI unit and just tap it straight into this. So that'll be good. You get they say you get an extra 30 kilometers an hour out of the motor because it puts no rev limit on the engine, which is great. It's supposed to be better for idle speeds. Any of you guys that have ever heard of one or seen one or used one, you'll know what it's about. I don't. I'm pretty sure I'll find out when I get the instructions with it. So the project for today is I'm going to wash down this motor and get it ready for paint. But prior to doing that, I have to drop it back in the frame because, silly me, when it was in the frame, what I should have done is actually marked up here on the frame where I needed to hang the bracket for the exhaust, and I didn't do that. So I've got to go and do that today. I've done a bit of welding. Still in the process of still cleaning some of these welds up, but a lot of this is a lot better than it was. A lot of it's not seen simply because the motor sits over the top of it, so it doesn't have to be, you know, super fantastic. But yeah, if you remember, I had a hole here which was filled up with silicon. I put a plate in there now, so that's got a plate in it. Sort of smoothed up all the frame around the front there. Don't know if you can see that properly with the shadows in the garage here, but that's all been done. Up here I ran some weld. It had been welded up here, up this seam, but hadn't been welded across the top on both sides, so I did that just to strengthen it up a little bit. Yeah, so the frame's taken care of, that's all good. Got my RM tank during the week, 1982 RM80H tank. I'm going to also paint strip this today. Someone's had a crack at it in years gone by, with some yellow paint, not an exact colour match, it's more like a canary yellow. Looks like they actually did use a plastic grey primer underneath. But yeah, I'm going to clean it all up. It's, as you can see, it's dirty underneath like the YZ side plate was. So all that's got to be scrubbed. Looks like it's made contact with the exhaust here. Now the seller didn't mention anything about that. It hasn't. I'm lucky it hasn't gone through, and I have filed the majority of it down, but I have to be very careful that I don't go any further than that, because if I do, I'm going to file a hole through the tank. So when it sort of sits, when it sits like that, when it's sitting square, you don't see it. I'm going to leave it, but I did leave that in the comments, the feedback comments on eBay, that he didn't mention that the tank was actually melted. There's some rubber grommets here. I had one. They're fairly wide. It's a fairly widely spaced grommet. They call them, in the Suzuki manual, they refer to them as a cushion. They push in there. Went everywhere I could think of. Every industrial hardware place trying to find a pair of these. Couldn't get them. Got onto the Suzuki dealer here in Melbourne, Mick Hone. Turns out they still keep them, so I ordered a couple of those. I also ordered the rubber strap that holds the tank down. Somehow it clips on here and then it fastens to the frame. So when I get the strap, I'll find out how all that goes together. What else did I get? Oh, I got some bolts. So when I get those grommets, I've got these 10mm bolts that will go through the grommets, go through this hole. It lines up perfect, and what I will do is I'll just put one spot on these nylock nuts on the inside, and that'll be our mounting bolts for the tank. Now I was missing I had these little tiny screws which hold the heat shield on the exhaust. I thought, there's no way in hell I'm ever going to get something this short. They're going to have a bolt, or it's not actually a screw, it's a bolt, because it doesn't have a pointed end on it. I thought, there's no way they're ever going to have one that size. Well, guess what? They did. They had them. And the bloke gave them to me. Gave them to me for nothing. So he's giving me a spare. So yeah, so I got the bolts for those. What else are we doing? I still haven't had a chance to get down to that motorcycle wreckers. I'm gonna ask him the best way to pull these shocks apart, and if not, I think the club president in my hot rod club may have a set of motorcycle spring compressors, because he works on Harleys as well. Harley Davidson mechanic, so as well as doing just general everyday cars and customs and rods, and he does Harleys as well. So I'm pretty sure he'll have a spring compressor. Can take the springs apart. I'll get all them painted, and then I'll get them all reassembled. I'll pick up some new bushes for them. The only problem is I don't know. These are two different shockers, as I've mentioned. I don't know what they're off, so it's going to be trial and error. I know that I think this shocker definitely, these bushes definitely sit better on the Yamaha frame, on the pins. So I would say that this is the original Yamaha shocker. This one's off something else. If I had to put money on it, I'd like to say it's off maybe a Honda. I don't know why. I just get the feeling it's off a Honda. It's skinnier here. Yeah, but you know, you can see that bush or that rubber grommet in there. It's loose. It's all worn. So I'll check the outside diameters. If the outside diameters are okay, I could pretty much take a punt and order a set of 4 of these from Yamaha, and that'll take care of the back suspension. What else? I got my front fender this week. They did say that it was to suit, you know, an XR100. Well, I've put it up against my old XR100, or it was an aftermarket, but to suit a YZ80 or an XR100 or RM80, and this thing's huge. It's to fit a 250. It's to fit a 250. So I've taken some photos and I'm going to send it through to the seller, because they did guarantee me this thing is to suit an 80 and it's going to look ridiculous on the bike. Another thing that I did was, and I'm not sure if I've mentioned this in the past 2 videos I put up, but this PK Ripper exhaust, if you remember, I bashed the back of it in to try and get clearance around the head, and I couldn't get a slide hammer, or no one in the club was going to give me a slide hammer. So the guy that's going to help me out with the Studebaker said cut out the damaged part and beat it out, which I did, and weld it back in, which I'm going to do this afternoon. So there you go. Gonna have a good exhaust pipe on there, and yeah, probably a lot easier than stuffing around with a slide hammer, because there was no way that you were going to get all the dimples and things out. With this, it was great. I just used the anvil on the back of the vise to knock everything out. And the beautiful thing was, because that piece of metal I cut out was all carboned up, every time you hit it with a hammer and you flattened it out, that carbon would fall off. So it was like putting something in a guide coat, basically. You could see where you'd hit the panel. It was great, fantastic. What else? Oh, we've been working on the seat as well. Just bear with me, I've got to just put this on the table. Not that I need it now, I've ordered them, but yeah. So I'm working on the seat. Now, because this tank here is shaped a little bit different to the 1980 RM tank, this being an 82, I sort of have to cut the seat a little bit, and it's not the first time that it's been cut down. So what I've done is I've cut it back so that it's clearing the tank here. I don't want anything rubbing up against it. I need a little bit of clearance, and I've started to chop the foam out so that I get this beautiful, nice, tight fit up against the tank, and the foam can't come any further past this point. This is where the seat should sit, but at the moment the foam's sitting up here. So what I'm going to do today also is I'm going to take this original skin off. There's my old skin that I put on it 30 years ago. This one's the original one. There's still remnants of the old RM70 logo on the side there. So that's going to come off today, and I'm going to take this foam and I'm actually going to trim it down. I'm going to trim it down to the height that I want it. I stopped in at a place called, for you guys that, well, you guys might have it in the States, but it's a place called Clark Rubber. They do all rubber and plastic things, anything you can think of, they do it. They cut foam, and I asked the guy, I said, if I bring in an original foam piece off a motorcycle seat, are you able to cut to its exact shape? And the guy says, yes, no problem, we can cut it to the exact shape. We'll do it out of high density foam. So that's great. So there's the plastic pan. That's okay. Oops, sorry guys. I'm trying to save it before it falls off and breaks something. So I got the pan there. I'm gonna cut the foam down. So although I've made a mark up here, I've got to reverse that and move that mark down to here, because I've obviously got to take it off the bottom. Got to take it off the bottom, because at the back here you're only left with so much. And yes, I can squash that down almost to nothing like on the modern bikes, which I'm going to do. Get it as low as I can, but yeah, I've got to chop it. And what I've got to do too is I'm actually going to squeeze the back of this seat in, because as you can see, there's a bit of room between the frame and the seat, obviously with this being a 370 seat and this being an 80 frame. So I'm going to heat it up. I've marked a couple of lines here on ridges that I believe will be the right points. I'm going to heat it up with the heat gun, and I'm just basically going to squeeze it in and clamp it, and then when it cools, it should have brought the whole back end of that seat in, and the rear fender will sit better. Rather than it being tapered out here, it'll be more squared off, so it won't look as bad. The seat, I think the seat will come up really good. I know it doesn't look much at the moment, but you know, it's going to work out a lot cheaper, I think, than you know, trying to source another one. If you can even source them, there's plenty of high-rise safety seats on eBay, but this 82 RM tank didn't come out with a high-rise seat on it. The 80 tank didn't come out with a high-rise seat on it, so I have to stay with this traditional type low seat, and you just can't find them. They're just not out there. So I've got to make do with this one. I'm quite happy to make do with that one. It's quite comfortable when you sit on it. What else did I get around to? Not much. I didn't get down to the aluminium or aluminum, depending on what part of the world you're from. It's going to get some plate to build a battery compartment, proper battery compartment in here. I'll try and... Oh, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go and see my old man after work one night. I'm going to take him my little book and highlight what I want and the measurements, and all he's got to do is just hand it over to the guys that work at the aluminium place, and they'll cut it, he'll pay for it and bring it home. He doesn't have to ask them anything, and that's good. I'll get that done. Now, still waiting on stuff, still waiting on the hand grips, on the brake lever. I ordered adjusters for the back wheel, still waiting on them. Obviously waiting on that nice little carby package which is coming. What else? Oh, the stuff I've ordered from Mick Hone, and I've only just done that in the last 10 minutes. It's as I said, it's Saturday afternoon. I ordered it online, opened an account with Mick Hone and ordered that, so that should only be a couple of days away. So we're making progress. Monday I'm going to go down to the local motorcycle wreckers, who was open today but I thought wasn't open. He's only open till midday. I'm going to go down and see him and see if I can get that back wheel set up with they call it a cam pin. So I need a cam pin, and I need the actual lever that comes off the cam pin. I spoke to the guys at a Honda dealership this morning when I was buying the bolts. They were right next door to them, and told them what my suspicions were on the back wheel. And they've got a guy that's been dealing in spare parts for 30 years, and he said that he probably would be able to identify the back wheel. But even the guy looking at this this emblem that's on the back of the old sprocket, which I think I may have mentioned was a H, it's actually a K, so my suspicion of it being a Husqvarna back wheel has now changed to a KTM wheel. Turns out you can still get all brake shoes for all 70s models KTMs, which is fantastic. And the Honda dealership was saying that most of the 80cc bikes, regardless of make, provided they were an 80cc, pretty much used all the same brake shoes. So we won't have any problems with getting brake shoes for it. Let me think. What else? I think that's about it for the moment. There'll be something else that'll come to mind in a minute, but until then, I'll leave the video here and I'll do some work. Cheers. Okay guys, I've got the engine sat back in there. It's not bolted in, but it's in. Now, I just wanted to explain a bit further what I'd explained in one of the first two videos. If you can see these studs on the head, you can see how one sits lower than the other. This is why we had to make this bar on this side a little lower than this side. It wasn't a stuff up where we just got the measurements wrong. We had to accommodate for these two. Yes, we could have ran this a bit lower. Could have ran that a little bit lower, but this is the way we chose to do it. Just for other reasons. Also, we have a little bit of support here just by this casting sitting on the frame. Once everything's bolted in, it doesn't vibrate, but it's just given that little bit of extra support to the front of the engine. And you can probably see there's no, actually I think those fins have got clearance. It's only like a millimeter or something, but that's the way we've had to do it. Now I'm about to set this bracket up, so you know it's going to get welded on there like that, and everything should be sweet. So I'm going to go do what I got to do, and we'll pick up the video shortly. Okay guys, there we go, just 2 tacks. That's enough to hold the pipe in place, and I'll show you the clearance we've got now. I've just got that held in with a magnet, but yeah, as you can see, we no longer, you know, with having bent this piece of pipe out last week and reshaping it and bringing the whole thing out and bringing it up, we've now got clearance between the head, which is fantastic. So my next job is going to be to weld this patch panel in. Okay guys, I've welded that patch panel back in, just alternating around it so I didn't blow any holes in it, keeping it cool. Needs a good grind back obviously, but yeah, I've just got this hole here to fill, and that's the pipe done, ready for a coat of paint. Just started to put everything in undercoat. After I do, I've got to high fill everything just to get it all nice and smooth, get all the little bumps and ripples and everything out of it. But as you can see, we've got the tank and the 2 side panels in undercoat at the moment. Painted the exhaust. I wanted it a matte black, but I'm actually going to do the heat shield in a gloss black. So I'm using all the good stuff, using all 3M products, and I'm using a VHT flameproof, which has just got a higher temperature. Not that I'll reach those temperatures with this little CT motor, but you know, hopefully it'll stick better and it'll last longer, and I won't have to screw around repainting the thing anytime soon. So that's what I'm up to at the moment, guys. Still got to paint the undersides of the side covers and the tank. Probably see a little bit of yellow on the tank there. Haven't quite got under that edge yet. So yeah, just keep plugging away. Take it back in the garage. I think I might have shown you already. Brain like a sieve. Welded that exhaust bracket on there, so that's beautiful. It's all hidden behind a number plate, so yeah, that's all done. Having a quick peek around the place. No, that's it. Cheers. Well, I've done a little bit more work on the bike. Stripped down all the triple tree, got it all clean. This one I have to wash off in the morning. I've been playing around with the seat. I reshaped the pan to make it not as wide in the rear end. I've narrowed it to suit an 80 guard. Still, you know, it's still a 370, but yeah, I've narrowed it. You can see where I've had to put some relief cuts in there, and that's simply to clear the frame. I won't put it on the bike now because it's I've just given this a wash down, and I don't want to rust up that frame. So it's worked out quite well. The bracketry is going to sit really nice around the frame, and I've been working on the foam. This bottom line here is what I intend to cut off the top of it, and this line will be the start of my new seat pad. So it's actually a drop of 20 millimeters. It leaves me with actually 20 millimeters there. It looks a little more here, but it's not. It's the same. And then that will drop itself down on the tank as well, which will be great. So yeah, pretty happy with how this has come up. It's a little bit sort of worried about you know, chopping up this seat. It needed to be retrimmed, then I needed to get new foam and everything else for it. But once I started getting the angle grinder out and started chopping up this this plastic pan, and then got the heat gun out and started melting things and clamping things, and I thought, oh god, this, you know, it's not going to work. It's not going to work, and I just stuffed the seat. But in the end, just kept going, and it worked out fine. Once that thing's bolted onto the frame at the front, it'll be secure, and it'll have two brackets, or one on each side. Got the original mounting holes there off the RM seat, so it'll be attached at both the rear corners. There's no way that's going to move, even with these relief cuts in there. It's not going to interfere at all with anything on the bike, and it will work the way it's supposed to. What else have I done? Not much, guys. There's the exhaust, all done in matte black. I painted up the heat shield in gloss. Looks absolutely magnificent. I got that inside with the rest of the plastic stuff. Got good coverage with the grey undercoat. Now I just got to give it a little bit of a squirt with some primer filler, get all the scratches and everything out of it, and then start rubbing my hands off to get it nice and smooth to paint. So yeah, a little bit each day. We're getting there. Slow and tedious. I probably spent a good couple of hours on that seat. It's you know, it's the second seat I've ever modified. The first one was in the Chevy, and the second one's on a motorbike. So yeah, I think they'll both turn out to be good. Cheers.